Listen close, we rise up from the ashes, digging for the truth, breaking old habits. We marching with the nesters, they laid the foundation, passed down revelation, sparked our motivation in a world of facades. We peeling back the layers. Truth is the weapon that cuts through all the fakers. Phonets in our chest, reborn from deception. Eyes wide open, no room for misdirection. Every step we take, we honor the connection between past and present, forging our resurrection. Phoenix rises in truth, setting us free from the lies that they feed. We reclaim our beliefs, thinking differently. We'll break every chain. We dance for freedom, case by case, again. We cultivate vision, planting seeds of awareness, challenge the narrative, break out of the harness, digging deep for knowledge, unearthing the hidden. Our minds are the soil where the is written by the scripts they prescribe. We write our own story, let the real one subscribe. One voice becomes many, together we rally. Freedom's not a concept, it's a move and a tally. We break the cage. Thought by thought, we shift the stage. Phoenix rises in truth, setting us free from the lies that they feed. We reclaim our beliefs, thinking differently. We'll break every chain. We dance for freedom, case by case, again. Rise up, speak out, watch the new world breathe.
Good morning, everyone. Hello and happy Friday. Hopefully my audio is coming in loud and clear, and I'll just, sounds really good. So how is everyone on this Friday? I cannot believe next week is Thanksgiving. I know you always are probably going to say, she's always talking about food, Thanksgiving, sourdough, all this other stuff. Well, you are absolutely right. Finally, we made it to TGIF Friday. And I'll tell you, I got up this morning, baked me some delicious, yummy sourdough. Can anyone guess what kind I baked this morning? Guess. Take a lucky guess. Drop it below. What kind of sourdough did Phoenix bake this morning? And for all you sourdough bakers out there, kudos, because it is not easy. It's a process that you have to be patient with. And I mean patience. So I'll give you a little hint. It is a holiday favorite. It smells so divine in the house. And one thing that you can actually bake with it is this ingredient. I guess it smells like cinnamon. Okay, so I made a cinnamon French toast type of sourdough today. So it tastes like a croissant basically because I used a little bit more butter than normal, and it was so delish. Yum. I should have put on some tea. So it was like a cinnamon toast sourdough, and I did make our classic regular. I did just 2 small loaves because bread is fresh every day here. I'm telling you. Yeah, so don't forget to hit the button. Friday is a little bit more lazy, relaxed day. I do have some great videos for you today. Um, who else is a baker in here? Anyone? I use cinnamon for plants. Really? No talkie before coffee says yum, delish. Nona is over there salivating. Yes, don't forget to hit that like button. Yep, cinnamon is the bomb. Pumpkin's next week. I'll shape it like a pumpkin too. Audio is in check. Welcome in every single one of you. Yes, I'm excited. I am excited for Fridays. I love it. End of the work week, beginning of the weekend. Is it rainy in your area today? It is in mine. It is all over. Lulu Bell, welcome into the nest. Dina, welcome in. Caleb, yes. Has anybody actually heard from Critic Rick? I'm starting to be concerned unless they're on vacation or busy or the holidays. I'll have to put a SOS out. Critic Rick, if you're out there, let us know that you are well. Rebecca, welcome in. Welcome all you amazing nesters. Welcome in, you flockers. I do have a membership that's dedicated for flockers. Cinnamon and plants. You're gonna have to tell me a little bit more about that, Caleb. I'm a wannabe baker. I try to bake, but not great. Hey, practice, practice, practice. I bake bread and focaccia and cakes, but cannot master sourdough starter. It's a whole process. It's a science experiment. Get this. So I sent some starter. I dehydrated it, sent some starter to my daughter, and I've been sending sourdough starter all over the country for many years. And sent it to my daughter. I told my daughter, "You will be baking in 2 days." She made her first loaf in 2 days after rehydrating the starter, followed my exact directions. She's never baked before. I sent her a whole brand new Dutch oven and a big old kit. She was so excited. And guess what? Her very first loaf, she got the golden crumb that everybody dreams about. Wild crumb. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Now, if you want my sourdough starter, I will send it to you, but you have to send me an email address because you'll have to send me an email to my email. My address is Phoenix Investigates at proton.me. So don't forget, if you want the starter, just go ahead and send me an email and I will mail it out. Now, it's going to come just like a letter. So it doesn't cost me a lot of money. You get it for free and my starter is now almost 7 years old. So I've been doing this a long time. My first starter was about 12 years old. I moved across the country and I lost it. So I don't know where it went. But if you ever have a starter and you like baking and you enjoy it, dehydrate some and put it in your freezer. It'll last a year. As long as you make it once a year, you're going to be golden. So, Caleb, I worked in the restaurant business for decades, but really never took it to that level. Yeah, most people don't, but during times of need when you need to whip out a quick bread, and this isn't quick, by the way, sourdough takes a process, but it's so, yeah, I'll send it to you in Scotland. Hopefully they won't seize it at the border, but I will. Cinnamon is, yep, a healing agent. It does help regulate blood sugar imbalances. It does a lot. Cinnamon is absolutely beautiful. I didn't know it was a root stimulator for plants, though. I'm going to have to try that. I don't like sourdough for some reason, but I bake all over. Well, keep in mind, the longer that you leave the sourdough there, it gets sour. So the longer you let it sit to rise or in the fridge for cold proofing, it will become very sour. Now, my starter is not super sour. I have two starters. One that's not so sour and one that's super sour. Hey, so let's get started today. I'm excited about this because I have seen technology on the rise over the last 20 years, and there are so many interesting things happening in technology. And I want to start this Friday off with a little bit of tech, and then we're going to get into the E.E.K.S. Wait till you hear what I have to tell you. I'm almost sad about this, guys, but we're going to get into it. So I want to share this with you real quick. Enjoy this. Totally enjoy this.
Grandma says I don't got no favorites. She is lying, and it's me.
As a grandma, if you're a grandma, you get it. You totally get it. And as a grandpa,
Leave me behind. Please come get me. I am so scared. I miss your hugs.
Do you love daddy or mummy?
Grandpa, I love him very much. He tells me many interesting stories. Hey, police! Arrest Auntie Linda. She's fighting with my grandpa, and I love my grandpa very much. Grandpa, I miss you. I didn't see you today. I'm so scared.
But what do you miss the most?
Grandpa's voice. He always makes me laugh.
I hope he's watching me now.
What are you thinking about right now?
Grandpa, he's always kind and gentle. I love him very much.
What do you want to say to your parents?
Have them tell my grandpa I miss him. And to please bring chocolate and candy.
What do you want to do most when you grow up?
I don't want to grow up. I want to stay by my grandpa's side forever.
What do you want to do most right now?
To grow up so I can hug my grandpa with open arms. I love him very much.
oh, I just think that's the cutest. And tech is really interesting. You know, sometimes tech is really amazing. Look at this tech. You won't believe what I found.
So we are out back waiting for our zip line delivery. We ordered some groceries to be delivered by a drone that's going to fly through the sky.
What are the groceries at? Wow. You got it?
Uh-huh. This is crazy.
This drone is going
We're
to
in our
deliver the
backyard.
groceries.
It's a good size. It's a good size.
And here come our groceries.
Oh, it's throwing it down.
Yeah.
Watch this. This is like the Jetsons. No way. Zip line.
I didn't land on something.
Look at that.
Seriously? So what do you think?
That's cool.
Dinner is served. Groceries galore. And sometimes tech just goes wrong. Forgive me for this, guys, but there is some trigger bad words in here, but sometimes tech just goes wrong. Oh, hold on. Told you, tech goes wrong. Here we go.
Lexi, set me an alarm for 5 o'clock because I gotta go to bingo tonight.
The giant horse conch weighs over 11 pounds.
Poor grandma.
What the fuck?
Grandma. Oh.
Motherfucker. Lexi.
Sometimes technology could go so wrong. But you know what? Over the years, I've seen amazing tech. And You know, the AI is the baby ones are funny, but the AI today is looking so real. It's scary real. You know, and I mentioned that yesterday in regards to the guy who worked for um on contract and talking about cybersecurity and AI and fake ID coming and all that other stuff. But you know, sometimes technology could be spot on. I mean, I guess it depends on what you're going to use it for. I mean, are you entertained by some of those? I am personally. So, welcome in everyone. This is Phoenix Talks, and here I'm your host, Phoenix. And today we rise above assumptions, we stay curious, we ask those questions, we think about things with open minds. Every question matters. Every angle is welcome. Your thought process is welcome. And nothing is off limits because we are speculating, we are researching, we are looking at only publicly known documents, we share publicly known information. And this is where curiosity sparks the fire. And today in the Idaho 4 case, I just got to play the reel first.
Innocent. Brian has been essentially convicted in the media. He has a right to have this information withheld, brought out in public so that people can see it's not this neat little package. So people can start to wonder if Brian's innocent. Your Honor, Brian is innocent. So if I talk about things that are in the affidavit, and if I talk about things that we're seeking that the state wants to hide, I think that's fair game for the public to hear.
And whatever the state wants to hide, we are looking at what the state had. And when we're talking about the Idaho 4, there is a acronym that I put together and I'm calling it E.E.K.S because we're going to break down some of the things that include evidence, events, knowledge, gaps, and secrets. Everything here is fair game. Fair game. And when I say that, does that mean it's a game? No. Justice is not a game, in my humble opinion. And, you know, being at Friday and being open to some of the errors, exclusions, key suspicious points, depending on how you frame this Idaho 4 scenario, uh, you know, we could basically keep it clear, we could keep it funny, we could keep it deep. But this information is wow. In a case like this where 4 individuals have their lives were taken, you know, there are theories out there. There's information out there. There's truth being shared, but it's like when baking a cake. I don't know if you guys do this, but I sift the flour and all the stuff that doesn't go into the cake, it doesn't make the cut. Doesn't go into the batter, it doesn't bake that perfect cake. And this is exactly what I've done in the Idaho 4. When you look at all the rumors and all the stuff, you put it in the sifter and you sift all this stuff, and whatever comes out is basically what you're going to use. Okay? So when we talk about evidence, I'm talking about evidence that raises eyebrows. Now, not BK, Brian Kohberger's eyebrows. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the pieces that don't fully align, they don't feel complete, or they've been under discussed. I mean, we could talk about the male DNA, especially the unknown male DNA, but we could talk about latent prints, like an example that I'm going to show you here, that really made me raise my eyebrows to what I learned. In the forensic documents, you will see so many interesting things that were shared in the handwritten notes in the forensic documents, folks, that was published. And you may never see these in any written up document because these are the things that are hidden. Evidence. Evidence. And this was on the second floor with Xana. And some of the things that they're not going to tell us is listen to this expert that walks in from the forensics team, and they say a large area of blood on the floor between areas A, E, and AF. Now, the diagrams are in the documents. Blood also present on bed frame and bedding. Bed location was against the wall, but was moved prior to our arrival. Now, why would someone move the bed prior to the experts getting on the scene of the crime to log and test evidence? Folks, these are little things that are in these documents that if you don't read them, you'll never know and you'll never see. And all it takes is one person to share this live, to share this video at the end of the day and say, look, this person is pointing out all these hidden evidence. A lot of people are going to be like, holy moly, who's got time to read all that shit? Well, excuse my French. I'm doing it because I want to personally know what happened to these beautiful individuals. If this was my child, I would be combing this information. My hair would be on fire looking to make sure the accountable individuals are going to be charged. If that means I have to help someone get out of prison, I'll do it. Now, all the handwritten notes throughout these documents, they're all there for you. And my trusty mods, you are so beautiful, Amanda. Thank you. Justice for All is where you can get all these documents in one click of a button. All these documents have been there for you. You don't have to try to go to 9 different websites, 10 different websites. Everything is there at your fingertips. And that is for every single person. Even the guilters. The guilters can come on in. But if you're in here and you're joining this amazing stream, not to pump my ego or anything, because I don't see anyone else talking about these things that should be talked about. I just don't see it. And I know that these parents are doing some interviews and trying to do damage control, and they don't want the prosecutor where they live in their area, where they have their homes, where they have their other family. I get it. You're up against a big system. It's not fair to anyone that this was swept under the rug. And these hidden little pieces of evidence that raise eyebrows is one of these things. So the experts arrive to document everything in evidence, and they find out the bed has been moved. And it says, but bed's location was against the wall, but was moved prior to our arrival. So exact location of stains on the bed in relation to the stains on the wall is unknown. That's tampered evidence. That's tampered. A long baseboard, numerous small and overlapping stains, which may be from blood dropping into the pool at the bottom of the floor. If the families have been threatened, whoever's threatening them needs to be charged with collusion. Whoever is threatening these families, stop it. Be a better human. Be a better human, because you know what? These people are running the streets. These people could be your next senator. These people could be your next president. It has to stop. So when you start looking at the evidence, there's so much more in here, guys. So much. I mean, it would probably take me months to show you. I mean, I could walk you through it. People can read on their own. This is the actual blood stains from Xana's room, second floor, bedroom. Handwritten notes of where the stains were, but they couldn't figure out. They couldn't document because the bed was moved. Who needed to move the bed before they got there? Who moved the bed? Who had access in there to move the bed? Drop it below. Who do you think? Who do you think moved these? It wasn't the movers, was it? Were the movers, did the movers come in and they were moving house, cleaning house, or somebody cleaned up, or what? Who did? We could take a lucky guess, but remember, it's all speculation, folks. Everything is speculation. But let me show you something else. We were told that there was a latent footprint, a partial latent footprint. But look at this. 11/18/22, east bedroom, third floor blood stains, mapped and labeled. Now, this is just an overall. Photograph stains in east bedroom, floor 3, and moved bed to photograph. This is where they document. I moved the bed, and I documented that I moved the bed, but I took pictures before and after. That is accountability and responsibility that these experts, the forensics experts, went in and did. Now, exterior kitchen window processed latent prints, marked it. Inside of sliding glass door, tape sealed by so-and-so, and they marked the time. This is what accountable note-taking is. And that's why I say some people are very professional in this case. Cleared the house at 21:14. That's about 9:14 at night. Moscow PD that was there, JAHYTMWB, even wrote the officers that were on site with them. That's accountability. Combined package evidence, outer envelopes, sealed, signed outer envelopes. That is accountability. But this just blows me away. Briefed Sergeant Gunderson as to findings inside the house. And this is the key point. Footwear, movement through house, and it says latents. That means more than one. And I kept going through these documents looking for, why do we only have one reference of one partial latent footprint? And it clearly written by a professional in the forensic science professional, latents, which means more than one. So they knew the movement through the house, folks. They knew the movement, but yet they only released one partial latent footprint and never released the picture. Detective Talbert had been briefed at scene as to the progress prior to his departure. And Carrie and Wyatt left scene around 9:10 to respond to other scene. What other scene? What other scene were they talking about? Was that the 1127 scene? What scene were they referring to? I can only guess. Because you know what? Typically you wouldn't put they're going to another scene unless it was linked, in my humble opinion. Now, I could be wrong, but I'm just saying what could be so important that they had to leave and go to another scene. Bed was moved in Xana's room. Here's a kicker for you. When you start looking at how they even got into this house, was it the sliding door? Was it access to potentially a window via a ladder? I mean, what's the best way that you think that someone got in this house? Let's just assume that all the doors were locked. Let's assume for one moment. Yes, latent footprints mean hidden or unseen. There was cleanup, Gretchen. Absolutely. There was cleanup. So, what's your best guess is how they entered this house? Let's see what you got for me. Kaylee Slider. Only Dylan and Bethany's windows were unlocked. Ladder to Kaylee's balcony. Someone gave them access. Tunnel. Got to get back to work. Okay, Christine. Thanks. Okay, so we are only speculating. I have my disclaimer up here. We are not here to harass, hinder, harm, slander, libel anyone. We have the freedom of speech, fair use in everything we do. And let me just show you in the documents. This is the forensic documents, and this was the second floor windows. And that's the first thing they usually check. Living room north wall was unlocked. That's an entryway possible. West bedroom north wall unlocked, second floor. So that was Xana's bedroom. East bedroom south wall locked. That's Dylan's room. Okay, that's the second floor. So Dylan's room window was locked when they came in and did this check. Kitchen south wall unlocked. Kitchen west wall unlocked. So it could have been the kitchen. Remember, they found a face print and handprints, and they took all kinds of samples and latents and ran them through all kinds of databases. So it could have been a potential entry of a kitchen window. And I said that like a long time ago. Okay. And yeah, Jilly Bean, I remember seeing that too. And I kept saying, what? I don't understand why Beth, and I could bring the picture back up. So just everybody that is new to this stream, we're very open-minded. So if you're rattled, then this may not be the stream for you. But I've shared this before. Bethany's room looks like a total shamble. And if that was the entry, the blinds were messed up, broken. Looks like somebody may have ransacked the place or in a hurry to pack and leave. I don't know, but something isn't right. So let's look at the third floor windows. Just let's look at that real quick. The third floor windows, hallway north wall was locked. West bedroom north wall, which west bedroom north wall, AC unit in place, nothing above it to block the open space, blinds down and top of AC unit. West bedroom, sliding glass door unlocked. That was Kaylee's room. Bathroom north wall unlocked. That was the bathroom window. East bedroom south wall unlocked. That was Maddie's bedroom window unlocked. But now we know that looking at the evidence pictures, it doesn't look like anything was knocked down off of Maddie's window for them to have access. Okay. Gretchen, the mention of the latent prints were on the second, were on the, hold on a minute, let me grab that file again. The mention of the latent prints was inside the house. it says movement through house, not outside the house. Leighton is hidden. Absolutely. So when we start looking at the third floor windows, we see that Maddie's bedroom was unlocked, but nothing was damaged. Her boots were in the window, and it looks like nobody had accessed that window. They took the router from the second floor, removed by Detective Talbot. Now here's shocking. Bethany's room was locked on the east bedroom, north wall. That was locked. But the spare room was unlocked. So what would be the best access to this house, how they broke in, or how someone got in if the back slider was locked? I would probably say, yes, they did dust for footprints and fingerprints. The best way that they got in had to have been the kitchen window, which you do see in, let me just grab that picture. We'll turn this into a little live dig. 1122 King Road windows. Remember that plant that was knocked down? I don't know if it was before or after the forensics team came in, but there was a plant that looked like it was knocked down in the window. Does anybody remember seeing that? How is the black slider locked if that's how he left Phoenix? Well, once you access somewhere and you leave the back door open quickly, that is very possible. If that back door was locked before they went to bed, and I'm just saying before, okay? And I know not a lot of people are talking about what I'm about to say. I have a gut-wrenching feeling, and this is speculative, that perhaps all four of these individuals were murdered at the same time. While they were getting ready for bed, and or someone heard what was going on. So what do I mean by what I'm saying? I'll just give it to you straight. I'm not going to talk in little circles, and I'm just going to tell you my speculative theory. The mayor said this was a crime of passion. I have always stuck with that within the first 24 hours. Always. So let's just assume for 1 second, and I know this is going to be a really hard exercise for you. Let's assume for 1 second that no one really saw this coming. No one knew about this, that this was not planned. Okay, I know this is going to be hard for some of you to hear. But let's just think for 1 second that whatever happened at the corner club continued at 1122. Whatever happened at the corner club continued at 1122. And let's just theorize that, in fact, Maddie was upstairs in her bed asleep or prepared for bed. Kaylee had already prepared for bed and was getting ready to go upstairs after being with Murphy downstairs. And let's just say that some people that knew these individuals hadn't known about their sleeping situation, didn't know what rooms they were in, maybe had a feeling or an idea. Okay? And let's just say that this crime of passion were 2 or 3 individuals that possibly took this out on these two girls. Which two girls am I talking about? Well, remember Kaylee was supposed to be sleeping in Xana's room. That's what people thought the year before, the summer before. She had moved out of Xana's room and went upstairs on the 3rd floor with Kaylee. And one individual might have thought Kaylee was still in Xana's room. That's a possibility. But the other individual knew where Maddie's room was, 100%. And whether they knew by social media, by friends, by visiting, by parties, maybe coming into the house once or twice, they knew where Maddie was for sure. And that's the story that we got. It was targeted. Maddie was targeted. What if I told you Maddie may have been targeted, but then Kaylee was targeted also that night? And they weren't sure where Kaylee was in that house. They went to Xana's room. And that was all by accident. All by accident. Two individuals, two separate rooms, and they realized, oh shit, this isn't Kaylee's room. Maybe it was a mistake. Could have been. I'm just saying it is possible. It is possible. Because the events do not fully line up. It doesn't. The thud, the crying, the timing between DM hearing noises, phone activity, the actual estimate, everything's still debated. Inconsistent camera timestamps, Linda Lane audio that was thrown out there, never released by any officials. The grub truck, the white sedan. I mean, who owned a white sedan? I know that Jack Decor drove the family of Kaylee's vehicle. They loaned it to him. They maybe didn't know that Ethan was going to be there that night. Car sightings. The white sedan was seen circling 12 times. Were they waiting for them to go to bed? Was this individual so pissed off that they got blown off at the corner club or kicked out and basically took matters into their own hands? Possible. That would be a crime of passion. That would be. And then we don't know if the lights were on or the lights were off, or there was some lighting. Several neighbors reported lights shifting at odd times. So what's up with that? Were they off or were they on? And let's talk about the knowledge gaps in this case for the E.E.K.S. Who was actually awake? Because I will tell you, there are documents and witnesses. Yes, there are witnesses that basically say that Dylan didn't feel like drinking that night. She wasn't feeling it. She decided not to drink. I've got two eyewitness documents that say she didn't feel like drinking that night. She wasn't into it. Here's the first one. Here we go. Right here. 5, interview 0064. Blank told detectives while she was at the hotel, Blank told them she saw someone in the house. That would be Dylan told them she saw someone in the house wearing a ski mask and made eye contact with them, but didn't know what was going on because she was out of it. This struck Blank as odd because she remembered Dylan saying she wasn't getting drunk that night. What? That's one witness. And I can handle one witness saying that, but two witnesses? Another witness, described as C1, right here, went to Blank for a barbecue around 1 p.m., then blank, 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 unknown spelling of their last name, blank, blank, unknown number, blank, blank, unknown number, and blank, brother, unknown number, Went to the Vandal game around 3 to 4, unknown number, blank, blank, unknown number. Went and stayed at the game, halftime, went back and was there until 8:30 p.m. Went to blank and blank, blank, unknown number so she could change to go to 21st birthday party and blank out of the house residence, unknown number. But left at 11:30 with blank, blank and went to the blank house. Well, at the blank house and blank they hung out with blank Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin in blank apartment. Hung out for a couple of hours at Dylan's house and ran into blank at 12 to 12:30. Told blank she couldn't get drunk and made the statement of effect she wasn't feeling it. So that's two people that have said that Dylan was not drinking, not drunk. And I'm not saying she was sober, but I'm just saying that other witnesses have said, nope, wasn't feeling it, wasn't going to drink. So which was it? What do you think? Was she sober? I know I'm cursing the blank, blank, blank too all the time. So who was actually awake? Who was actually sober? We know Maddie was tipsy. We know that Kaylee was probably the only one. Xana and Ethan have no idea. But Xana and Ethan's injuries, if you look, I could do a diagram on the autopsies, but if you look at the autopsies, all the stabs on their body look like they are laying down in the bed. It looks like they were laying down and someone attacked them while they were laying down. And we hear very little bit of evidence with their fingernails. We don't hear anything with Xana's fingernails. We just don't. I mean, what truly happened to their fingernails? Forensics documents. What happened to those results? What happened with the sheath? We seen blood on the sheath from the ISP. Was it partially opened or all the way opened? We still don't know where it was exactly in the bed. And no genealogy work has never been done on the unknown profiles. Why? If they were so apt to solve this case, why didn't they do it? Why didn't they get the evidence, test? Because most of these forensic documents say no test required, no test requested, like they didn't want to know. Yeah. And the S stands for secrets or suppressed data, whichever one you want to choose. Multiple witness statements we know existed, but are not still released. One, I talked about it yesterday, TP, the Toyota Prius. We never saw the statements where his car was being looked at and photographed and investigated. There was no police document on that. There was no, we met so-and-so, and no, it was in the forensic files. There was nothing like that in the Moscow files. We know things are missing, people. We're not stupid. Yeah, the forearms and the front and hands were defensive wounds. But even if you're laying down, they could still be defensive wounds. If you look at the picture, and I'll share the diagram that I have. If you look at the diagram, and I'm not the best artist, by the way, but it looks like they were in fact laying down and trying to defend themselves as they were laying in bed, in my humble opinion. I'm not an expert. I am definitely not. Check Insta. I've got some photos. Okay, hold on. Let me check it real quick. Amanda, you rock. Oh, this is perfect. Okay, let me grab this. Yep, exactly what I said. These defensive wounds look to me like they were in fact laying down. And Nobody, no expert has come out and said, in fact, for sure, they were laying down. No one has come out and just said that. Defensive, you could have defensive wounds when laying down. 100% you can. Absolutely. Especially if you're caught off guard. But remember, they moved the bed so they couldn't tell for sure what actually happened. I mean, it's very difficult for movements in that process when you look at some of these pictures. I don't know how they moved the bed or what way they moved the bed, but the bed was moved. And I guess from a forensic standpoint, it would be really hard to put the pieces together. And who moved the damn bed? The bodies weren't even moved out, were they? Yeah, they were. Sorry. Who moved the bed? That doesn't make sense to me. Okay, let me grab these pictures. Let me download them. And let me go ahead and pull them up for you. Amanda, shout out. Shout out, girlfriend. You did awesome. I don't know where you got these pictures that I can give the person credit, but Amanda has found some pictures of someone that has put the autopsy findings into a blank body form, and you'll be able to see those. Let me just grab this real quick. And like I said yesterday, if you are trolling in this chat, do it quietly. That's the best way to troll. Okay? You don't need to come in here and try to harass my mods or harass me, try to dox people. That ain't cool. We're going to find you and we're going to ban you. And if you block me, you're going to get an automatic ban anyways. I'll find you. Trust me. Okay. I feel like the guy in Taken. So here is the pictures. I want to show just Xana and Ethan real quick. So this is the autopsy from Xana, and if you look at her wounds, they could absolutely be defensive wounds if you were laying down. If someone was standing over you and they were right-handed or even left-handed, look at the way that she could have been laying in the bed. And you know what? I wish I could put Ethan in side to side. So if you look, all her injuries, the majority of her injuries is on her left side if she was laying down. Okay. The few on the back could be, okay, so this one is the same as the front on the left side. That is still the left when you're laying down. So that could have protruded all the way through. Could have. I don't know for sure. But those injuries look like perhaps laying down and then lifting your hands, lifting your arms, and having those defensive wounds is very possible. And let's look at Ethan's real quick. So let me throw this up here. Ethan looks like perhaps, I hate to say this. Whoever did this knew anatomy and physiology. They knew. I really believe that. Yes, it's interesting that Xana's appear. Well, they both kind of do. They had to have known where these major arteries and organs were. They had to have. Absolutely. And then defensive wounds look for sure on his hands. Dylan's window was locked. Yes, it was. That's what the forensic examiner said when they got there. I don't know if it was locked before or after. We have no idea, but it was locked in the documents. So the interior and the posterior, and remember, they were both found supine, that is, laying upward. Let me just take a look at this. Amanda, I think you sent me. Yeah, you did send me. I mean, we can review this real quick, and then I want to jump into. Here is Kaylee's Kaylee's look all defensive, in my humble opinion. I'm no expert. I'm just telling you what I see. Maddie's look like maybe more of, where's Maddie's? Possibly defensive too. Maybe these two girls got up, heard something. But I believe the person who went to Maddie's room knew that was Maddie's room. Possibly could have went to the second floor where Kaylee was prior. People knew that she used to be in that room and thought maybe she was in that room. So, yeah, they look all defensive. She didn't have as many injuries as Ethan and Xana in specific places, in my humble opinion. And I don't know who the creator was that did this. Shout out to them. Thank you, Amanda. It wasn't no. I don't think they were experimental unless there's more information that they've kept secret sheerly for the fact that if there were experimental jabs after they were already injured and someone went in there and experimented, I don't know. I don't know where that whole thing came from. But forgive me, but why over 160 purported stab wounds? I don't know how one person could have done that. I just don't know. I think maybe 2, maybe even 3. But once you hit those major arteries, yeah, it's wild. Then they definitely had to have been laying down, in my humble opinion. Now, remember, that's just a theory. I'm no expert. I know some people that have taken sports medicine. I know that people that come from medical background families. I know there are students that were taking anatomy and physiology. You know, as a former nursing student, you have to take all those things too. So if you were going into any sports related therapy, you have to take those classes, and that includes anatomy and physiology. Okay, we know that. Military, I believe so. Now let me get into one document while we're all together today. And I want to say this politically correct. There were a few Jacks in this case, and we all know that there is some, how do I want to say this, discrepancies with perhaps who was involved. We know that there was more than one. This wasn't a lone wolf. But when we start looking at lab item 17, which was Jack DeCur's DNA, I just wanted to look and see if there was any more item 17s. And they did test him for substance abuse. There was a report 18, item 17, that went with his name. And allegedly they did, if this reads correct, it was tested. And when you go and you look at MPD 212, I'm going to go to the MPD and look for evidence 212. We're going to get there. They don't go in order. Some do, some don't, and some are missing. So I got to go back on this one, 212. 212 does say it's DNA swab. All right. And I'm going to go to the forensic report, and I'm going to look up lab item 17. And when you find things like this, you kind of take it with a grain of salt, because, some of these things are not correct. This said it was a blood swab, and it was taken from a north stairwell. So you got to be kind of careful when you look at these things. Now, either this is an error or it's just one of those hidden pieces of evidence. I don't know. It's all speculation. It said that they put their clothes in a forensic dryer. We had a live way, way back long ago. And they put them in a forensic dryer because they were wet, and they can't put them in a bag because they'll mold. So they had to dry them out in a dryer. We don't know if it was water wet or blood wet. So these unreported results, I think you have to take it with a grain of salt, because it does say item 17, blood swab from the north stairwell, but then it also says item 72. So I don't know if this is item 72 from the ISP, but this is item 20 that says it's a blood swab. But if you go back to item 20 and you look at MPD item 20, it does say it's a blood swab. It does say it is a blood swab item 20. So I don't know if they matched the DNA to the blood and then it says it's a blood swab for item 20. Your guess is as good as mine. Has anybody went through these documents besides myself? Anyone? Because they did go to, and I'll show you, they did go to this address and they did say they found blood swabs at this address. There were quite a few people that lived at this address, and it was actually managed by the same management property team that managed 1122 King Road. That is the 1127 King Road. And it is mentioned. It is mentioned in the forensic analysis. Digging and looking deeper may hold more truth to what we're looking for. And there's other people in the evidence file from the state that just don't make sense. And one of these, if they had no involvement, why did they take their prints? Emily Allant, Hunter Johnson. Now, I don't remember Emily ever entering 1122 King Road. Does anyone else? I don't even know who Connor Chestnut was. No one ever talked about this guy. But why would they take prints of Emily Allant 901? 901 just says it's a series of mixture of prints. Like they grouped them all together. They grouped them all together. 901, and I'll show you an MPD. It just says grouping or something like that. Hold on. Oh, additional exemplars right here. 901 item. Additional exemplars. That's all it says. But remember my famous chart that I made from this beautiful report that they gave us in the beginning. Emily Allant says involved. Hunter Isaac Johnson, involved. KJ, involved. All those people in red were the list of people that they felt were involved. Now, I don't know. I can't tell you because of all the secrets that are being hidden. We still don't know about any data from the surviving roommates. There's so many sealed documents. All I'm doing is bring you the documents. That's it. And you can make the decision on yourself. I mean, we're all adults here. You can kind of figure some of this stuff out. The real perpetrators, in my humble opinion, were never, ever detained. Ever. And when I say 1127, sorry, in the forensic reports, here is the report that they checked. Submitted swabs, we know that that was blood from the 1127 King Road apartment. Item 37. You can go back to MPD and look at item 37. Some of these are out of order, some of these aren't. Go all the way down that 578 page. Item 37. Let's see what it was. 37 was a blood swab. So that was blood found in the 1127 King Road apartment. And who lived at this apartment? Again, I'll show you the picture. You can line it up with the body cams. That is where Jack DeCour and a couple of these other people in the evidence file lived. And you can kind of, I don't know, let me look at item 37. Let's see what the outcome of that was. Item 37. Let's see if they give us a definitive answer. I doubt it, but we can try. 37 marker. 37 was 2 swabs from entry, hallway, kitchen, the hallway wall and kitchen, and it tested, and it was retained, and it just says retained yes. That's all it says. That's all it says for that. Item 37. Unless, let me see if I can find a definitive answer for us that says what it was. It just says retain 37, 1 of 8. That's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No exact answer. So there's so much that is hidden in these documents. But I think if you get a minute, I would recommend 37. Let's see what it says. 37 DNA extracts. 37 is all redacted, by the way. These were all redacted that had to do with anybody that was mentioned. When you look at these documents, you have to decode them, cross-reference them. It's like a puzzle. And those secrets that we keep finding hidden, like how many people, I mean, if you listen, how many people moved out of the area? We could name those people. The masked man that was said to be seen, no one ever saw him. Data from the surviving roommates completely sealed still. Case documents are still sealed. They were supposed to be out either yesterday or today. Now we have to wait longer. And the DNA tested, there had to have been about 200 plus items. The real total of tested swabs and surfaces are still hidden. And the 500 Queen Road apartment, the person that lived there was indeed allegedly Jack Showalter. And on the shower curtain and on the bathroom areas and on the wall, it was said to be his own blood. So how did Jack Showalter get cut? How did he get cut? Because this answer is staring us right in the face. This is where Jack Decor and Adam Latta lived. The major unknown male B DNA profile obtained from item 30, and unknown male C from item 37. 37, I just told you about, they found in the kitchen on the hallway at 11227. And the partial unknown male D DNA were never found in CODIS. So who's missing from this picture? I never saw Adam's DNA given. I've never seen a DL given. I've never seen an AA DNA given, or BP, or PC, or KN. I think she did give her DNA, I apologize. Or JH. That's who said all these people were involved. That came from the police department. It came from the police department. I mean, who knows? Maybe we're chasing a ghost. But there is B, C, and D. That is 3 unknown DNA still to this date. Why haven't they used genetic genealogy to find B, C, and D? That's the question I'm asking today. If it was so against company policy to run that DNA of Brian Kohberger's, why can't they do it for these 3 individuals? I know it's an oxymoron. I know it's a catch-22. I know what you're going to say. Phoenix, that's unethical because you've said it's unethical. Yes, it is. But do you think that finding and catching a perpetrator for murder is more ethical and overlook the DNA process to go and find and do IgG for this specific reason? It's kind of like picking the lesser evil of the two. In this case, do you think it would be acceptable to run IgG to find a killer? They sold us on it because Brian Kohberger was the person, but now we know it's not. Now we know it's not. What would you do in this situation? What would you do? I feel like that guy on that series. What would you do in this situation? Leave your thoughts. Drop a lot of love for my mods. We appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for making these streams amazing. It's you in the chat. It's you gifters. It's you sharing one video with someone that will break this case open, and the real perpetrators, B, C, and D, will be found out. Drop your comments. Be well. Have a fantastic weekend.
Rise up from the ashes, digging for the truth, breaking old habits. We marching with the nesters, they laid the foundation, passed down revelation, sparked our motivation in a world of facade. We peeling back the layers. Truth is the weapon that cuts through all the fakers. Phonets in our chest, reborn from deception. Eyes wide open, no room for misdirection. Every step we take, we honor the connection between past and present, forging our resurrection. Phoenix rises in truth, setting us free from the lies that they feed. We reclaim our beliefs, thinking differently. We'll break every chain. We dance for freedom, case by case, again. We cultivate vision, planting seeds of awareness, challenge the narrative, break out of the harness, digging deep for knowledge, unearthing the hidden. Our minds are the soil where the future is written, no longer confined by the scripts they prescribe. We write, store real ones subscribe. One voice becomes many, together we rally. Freedom's not a concept, it's a move and a tally. Case, we break the cage. Dog by dog, we shift the stage. Phoenix rises in truth, setting us free from the lies that they feed. We reclaim our beliefs, thinking differently. We'll break every chain. We dance for freedom, case by case, again. Rise up, speak out, watch the new world breathe.